Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Meeting's been called to order. It's 6:03. And this is a work study, so no action is taken. We just discussed particular subject or subjects. And tonight's work study is going to be talking about snow days, the calendar.
Yeah, so I asked to see if we could do this on our work study because I'm fortunate to have both presidents of both associations here today to be with us, Kathy Bloom and Michael Schniezak, representing their associated groups. And through our labor management meetings this year, we've had some conversation and concerns, and I thought, you know what, there's enough stuff out there that maybe we need to bring this in front of the board and have a work study to talk about some of the things that we've chatted about, some of what things that your memberships have talked about, and concerns that I have as well about moving forward and where we're at with this. So with that, we do not have snow days built into our calendar, as you may know by now. And so there's some interesting dynamics by not having snow days, and I think that's what we kind of experience when this happens, because I think again, this occurred before I got here, the decision to not have snow days. So I'm just kind of relying on some things that I was told, but there was some communication about, we were in the remote learning, and if we start doing remote learning, we might not need to have snow days anymore. And I think there is some emphasis that could warrant that to work, but there are some concerns that come about with that. So if you folks wouldn't mind maybe just sharing some of the things that we've talked about, concerns that your members have had, or questions that we have that we need to kind of figure out how we're going to move forward with this.
If you want to start?
I can.
Thanks, Michael.
Well, from our take, it was proposed to us originally to take the snow days out because we were in the hybrid mode, and it makes, well, half your kids were already remote as it was, so that transition is an easy transition. Now with being full in place, that move to go remote without planning it's really kind of a slap in the face of the work that we do in the classroom, with how teachers have approached me. It's like to think that I can just all of a sudden go from what, my in-person instruction in a small group and all that stuff to have a remote instruction with any sort of integrity. That's kind of where we're coming from too. It made great sense when half of everybody was already at home with laptops, up the other half at home. You were already doing those pieces, but we don't want to be there anymore. I mean, so the notion that an elementary school teacher, for example, can just all of a sudden have every all the bits and pieces of their content available. It's a little bit easier for secondary because oftentimes it's just a couple preps, and you have kids that are a little bit more capable of signing on and being self-started and self-regulated in theory. Not all of them are, but that's where we are with that. So that's kind of the concern that came up when the calendar came out without a snow day in it, from the academic perspective, from the teachers. I didn't hear too much from the counselors and those kind of things. They're still able to meet with students, and they're in a Google Meet and do some of the things that they do. But so there was not as the concern. But the teaching, like I know that the PE teachers especially kind of been by, you're like, this is so hard to do anything with any sort of to do the kids any sort of justice. And that's what you want to do, is make sure that what we're putting in front of them is something that is worth taking. And when we have time to plan for it and you have time to prep for it, you feel like you're ready to do that. When it just happens because it snowed at 4 o'clock in the morning and 6 o'clock and now we're remote, it's a challenge. And I'm personally I can speak to, because I'm a projects-based teacher. My classes are all hands-on stuff. So for me, it's a real, well, we got to go a whole different direction and then swing it back around. So we make it work. The teachers have done a fantastic job of making those days work. But at the end of it, they're exhausted, and the success, I guess, of what we're doing is kind of like hit or miss at best.
And I have
Yeah.
I was gonna ask a question,
Sure.
clarification for myself anyway, so when, let's just say a class is shut down,
Yes.
one class. So is that teacher been going remote currently? I mean, I don't know how,
Like the classes at the elementary school
Right.
currently are. Yeah, when they close down, then they're all remote. So that instruction looks like it did when we first went out, where the teacher has a Google Meet.
but
and
it's just those classes.
Just that particular class, yes. So that's a little bit more challenging in secondary, where you're only with that class for a period. So it works well with the elementary. I mean, I wouldn't say it works well in terms of you're not getting the level of instruction that you hope to, but in terms of you don't have different cohorts and things like that to worry about, so you can have a schedule. I think they have a pretty effective schedule with the elementary school teachers, so that go out. They're not expecting those kids to sit in front of a computer for 6.5 hours, and you're going to do this and we'll come back. You'll do this and we'll come back. Kind of like we did when we first went out, right? When 25 months ago or whatever it was now. That was one of the big things we said. We just can't expect kids, I don't care if they're 5 or 18, to park in front of a computer for 6.5, 7.5 hours a day and feel like we're doing them any justice. So.
I can testify, my grandson was a senior last year.
Yep.
He nearly failed because he got so bored, and especially with the break times.
Yeah.
It's like, just to get it over with, so I can,
Yeah.
move on with my day, kind of a thing. But anyway, thank you. I just wanted to clarify.
No, it's
I wasn't aware, I wasn't aware if they were doing it remotely, class by class now, or, how it's.
and that's just in the case of the exposures and
Yeah.
hitting that moving target well enough to make sure that they need to close. But,
Sure.
and when the middle school went out for 2 weeks, I can speak to that. We had that early closure that we could feel it coming a little bit. So teachers were kind of already starting to bracket, and most of the teachers developed a system for online instruction that, while it's not ideal, it was successful, and so we at least had some experience in there and kind of a glimpse that it may be happening. So we're mentally kind of preparing for it. And then we had a day or two also to implement that stuff. So it wasn't like we woke up on Monday morning and said, okay, we're remote. It was, we woke up Monday and Wednesday we were remote. So. Any other questions for me?
Thanks, Michael.
Okay.
Well, most of my members are in support of having the students here, whether it's in the education or the transportation to get them here, or having the building safe for them, things like that. So I guess we kind of fill a different area. So some of my members, there's not really a need for their traditional job on snow days. So the transportation, the bus drivers don't drive buses. If we can catch the nutrition staff early enough, then they don't come, but oftentimes they've already prepared breakfast and they've been there for a couple of hours and things like that. The paras usually can manage, they are in support of the teachers, and they can do a lot of that through remote learning. And the kids seem to like that consistency, still seeing the person that they should see during that time during the day. Secretaries, they always have things that they could do, especially now. But so I guess we would kind of like to follow and be in support of what makes sense to the teachers. Because that's who, we're here to support the kids and the teachers. So we can make remote work for us. There would have to be some planning to some things like to keep bus drivers hours during that time. There'd have to be like some in-service things that they could do, things like that, to make it a little bit more equitable across the board for my members. But we can do it. It can happen. So.
Now, if only certain classes are shut down, how does that impact the majority of what kids?
The buses still run if there's only a few classes, and the food service still keeps going. The paras usually, if the class is shut down, the teacher is still doing remote things, and if they're supposed to have those kids during a certain time, they're still in contact with those kids remotely. So when one or two classrooms in a building were shut down, we just go on to where we are.
So I have a question. We're on a 2-year calendar approval rotation, correct?
Yes.
So this would be, we've gone through, is this our first year on that 2-year approval? Because,
I believe so.
Yes.
okay, so we'd need to amend the calendar
Mhm.
for next year, which means we'd need a convening of the calendaring committee. Is that what we're proposing here?
At least considering it, I think, just
Okay.
yeah, after we had some conversations, and I think Superintendent Neal got some feedback from the district. I don't think it was limited to teachers or support staff necessarily. I think it was district office and everybody, from my understanding. And so I don't know exactly how those pan out. Probably similar though to. There's a portion of people who are like, yes, let's just go remote because it's so nice to have that hard date at the end of the school year. Because we know now if we weren't to, if we were going to call the snow day, the only way we make it up is to add it on at the end. Where when those days
Now, yeah.
now,
Right,
so those
right,
days that
right.
are built in typically might be what we discuss as a calendar committee.
So we would want to look at building those in. And I personally, and I'm not going to speak for the board, but personally, having the students in the classroom with the teachers is paramount for me.
Absolutely.
It's especially given the circumstances of the last 2 years.
Yeah.
The more time they can be present with their teachers. And I agree with you, it is completely different to be prepared to teach virtually and then 4 o'clock in the morning changing your lesson plan. I completely understand
Yeah.
where you guys are coming from on that, and the integrity, and then let's just be honest, how many kids are really getting on?
Well, and that's the other part I didn't bring up is really
Yeah.
there's a lot of kids that still buy into that, but it's optional kind
It's a
of.
snow,
notion,
right,
yeah.
exactly.
Or do they have connectivity? All of those things that
Yes.
we've dealt with for 2 years. So I would heartily welcome the opportunity to revisit at least next year's calendar. I mean, this year, we're kind of stuck with what we have this
Right.
year, and we can cross our fingers and hope there's no flooding,
Yeah.
no more snow, and,
Right.
working that out however we,
Ice
ice storms. I don't even know that I've gotten a graduation date. Have we gotten it reserved yet for next year? I don't know, because I haven't gotten that information, but
I thought she reserved from the year before.
so, those
I
are
mean,
kind of,
from last
those
year.
graduation dates are kind of set hard and fast
Right.
usually, but
Yeah.
those are the things that we want to make sure that we
Mhm.
protect for seniors. But I really think that it's important that we have conversations. And I'm going to say also, I'm not going to speak on behalf of the board, but when we are looking at in the calendaring committee, I think it's really important that we aren't stretching out to the end of June for leaving, because there are so many opportunities that are missed for those graduating seniors. We want to make sure that we're
Right.
protecting that. So building in snow days is important. I think it's valuable for all of the reasons that we've seen and experienced, but also making sure that we're mindful of those kids, and not just for graduating seniors, but there's summer camps and there's summer jobs. All of
Oh,
the
yeah.
mountain jobs start sometimes before our kids have even gotten out of school, and they have not had the opportunity to do the youth corps positions up there. And that's a shame for Eatonville students not to be able to take youth corps positions.
Sure.
So I think when we're meeting together, having those bits of information of, okay, when's youth corps starting, let's kind of align
What's
and
going on?
let's see
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
best for kids.
Yeah.
And keep that, top of mind. I think that we're going to just be so much better, but I 100% support what you guys are saying. And I think we should look at reconvening and doing the best we can to fix.
Yeah,
Because-
get through this year,
Yeah.
And then see what we can, and then revisit, because, our goal ultimately is for all kids to be in school every year.
Yeah.
That's yours as well as ours.
And I guess one other question for you is, what would your preference be if we have flooding, if we have more snow? Would it be to add on to the end of the year, or would it be to continue with the remote?
Or a day here and there that we could, that normally they would take it like a 3 or 4 day.
I guess it would be a spring
weekend,
break.
you know what I
It would
mean?
be-
Right, right.
I'm thinking something like that.
It would be a shortened spring break.
Yeah, shorten something.
There aren't very many others that we can.
No.
That's
Not a
it.
lot,
That's
yeah.
left.
No, but I mean, there
Those are
might
like
be a day or two
Right, right.
in the year.
Are we doing the Friday and Monday for February for President's Day?
No,
Uh-uh.
No, that's not on there either.
No.
I had forgotten to look at that.
No, just the,
just a day, yeah.
Right.
I hear both, so I would have to actually be intentional in getting the numbers, whether the teaching pieces, would they prefer to have that remote, or they would prefer to go, just add days. So I hear pretty consistently both sides of that, so I'm sure that's kind of where you guys do too. It's like one day you hear, well, we can't add days, and the next day it's like, we have to just add it at the end because what we're doing is. So to give you a fair answer, I think I would have to go back and really
Yeah.
ask the, my.
And I would say
members.
that's probably something we need sooner rather than later, just given the
Yes.
fact that this is the time that those weather events are gonna happen.
Yes, for
They
sure.
would happen sooner rather than later.
I think people right now are under the impression that because there's no built-in snow days that we
They
would
would just go
just
remote.
go remote. But I don't necessarily know everybody embraces that, but I think that's kind of the mindset. Now, like I said, I have had people say, is there a way we just call it snow day and add it if we can? So I think probably if the board decided that that's what we're gonna do, we could,
Well, I think that we
could make that change.
as a
because it's
board,
not-
yeah, we would have to look at, kind of where we sit right now with our days, because
Right.
somehow we gotta do a 180.
Right,
We gotta
exactly.
figure
Well,
that
and
out. So-
and we need to reach out to parents.
And we need to reach out and.
We need to talk to parents too and see where they're at, because
Input and see
they have,
where,
parents
yeah.
have been through,
It's been a
they've been
ringer.
through a lot with
A
their
lot.
students, and we need to be mindful of where they're at right now.
Yes.
Because again, it just, pulling just.
I did survey my members, and over half of them would like to see it just stay at the result.
Just stay the way it is for now.
Yeah, they don't want it. I think it's more that they don't want to mess with the calendar.
Calendar
at this
anymore,
point in the
yeah.
year.
Yeah, well, I
Yeah.
don't disagree with that, but if we have to figure out if we're missing some days, we gotta,
Right.
we gotta be mindful, because we gotta get those days in.
I do know my feedback is also a little bit geographic. My Columbia Crest teachers are definitely concerned about their students because a lot of them, snow day means the idea of being a remote doesn't happen. It just doesn't exist. It's not
There's no
feasible. So,
connectivity on
so
there.
then it's a lost day, not a snow day.
Right.
And that's not even like we just had remote instruction that was or wasn't good. It was, we had no instruction because we couldn't. So I know that the staff up there, not just speaking for themselves, because I know there's several of them that live near, but they know their clientele is,
Yeah.
even if it
it's-
was a want to, it's a can't do.
Right.
And so they're definitely of the opinion, like, we just gotta call it a snow day, build snowmen for a day, and then we'll add it on in June.
Yeah, they don't have
For sure.
many options.
Yes. Yeah, it's
I
very.
know, I don't.
You can speak to it. So,
Yeah.
and so that teaching staff has definitely voiced that to me, that probably most consistent is my Columbia Crest group, really like, this just doesn't work. It's not fair for our kids, and they really take themselves out of that equation too. It's not their ego or anything like that. It's like, we just can't do the job,
Yeah.
it's just not, it's hurting kids, so.
That's
Good.
bottom line. Everything lately seems like it's hurting kids.
Certainly feels that way.
It sure feels like it. It's just heartbreaking.
So I have a question. Is a board member usually part of the calendar committee?
I want to say yes, I actually have stepped away. I've never been on our calendar committee.
I don't know
put
that
Sarah
it
on.
has been for a while.
I
There
didn't know
was.
anything. I did not know anything about snow days.
No, we did not.
I think,
But, so therefore,
So I don't know.
I'm assuming,
I wasn't on the calendar committee.
I don't know of anybody
Yeah.
that was this last few years.
I think it was, EEA, PSC,
Mhm.
and district office.
Yeah, there was no
were the
board member.
participants.
I know in the past, and I don't know, years past, we've had a board member
Yeah.
sit on it just to,
I think Michael Farmer steered away from it a little bit, knowing that he was bringing those options to the board. I think he even said that one of those meetings early on, I'm like, this is just one committee I don't have to be part of, and I'm on a lot, so
Yeah.
it worked out great for me.
One less
So
thing.
I haven't been in that mix, but I do get the feedback from it. I mean, I know that Tira and Tira Hancock and Christy Miller have both been part of it for a long time. So if you need some of the history of things, and I do know they said kind of the last meeting or so, it really felt like it was like, here's our option, this is what we're going to take kind of deal. It wasn't really a lot of
Conversation.
real conversation and discussion. It's kind of like, this is kind of what we want to see happen. Let's make this happen. And I get it. Preston really got that light bulb moment when every kid had a Chromebook, and it was like, this kind of revolutionizes what we do. And for a lot of ways it does, but for a lot of ways it limits some of those kids too. So.
Well, and we just found that out. Like, you didn't know until you
Exactly,
tried it, and then you're like,
exactly.
oh, well, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So,
And I basically, I was asking to see if, I mean, if we resurrect the group and get going here, do we want to have a board member part of that group?
I would
yes.
like to have a board member.
Okay.
Just sit on it,
Yeah,
What do you think?
Yes.
Okay, we have a consensus.
We have a consent.
there we go.
So I think we've heard all the points and the
Yeah.
concerns that we have, and I think, unless you guys have some more questions, I think we kind of have some marching orders here, so we can get our group going again sooner than later.
Okay.
Because
I
it's
just
not,
have one more comment.
yeah, go ahead, Deb.
Just to keep in mind that if we're going to make sure that we give the kids those summer opportunities, that may mean starting in August. Starting back to school.
It's something that would
in
be
August,
looked at.
because
Oh,
traditionally, we haven't started until after Labor Day.
I heard you saying, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But if we're going to make sure they're out soon enough in June to take care of those opportunities and take advantage of them, then we may end up starting in August.
It
Which,
can be looked at.
I think it's come up before.
yes,
It has.
it has,
And I've done it
and
both
we
ways.
did do it.
Yeah.
Not this year, but last year.
Sure.
We started,
Yeah, I think so.
Before Labor Day.
No, we've never started before
Okay.
Labor Day.
no, our staff did though.
Oh, yes,
okay.
staff.
Yeah.
Our staff,
We usually, yeah,
So-
I see what
You
you're saying.
usually, yeah.
we have a couple days in there.
but not usually non-members,
Not, yeah,
not usually non-members until after Labor Day.
probably just your secretary, I think.
Mm-hmm. And I did want it ready.
Right.
Okay,
Very good. So if you get a date, like you're like, we're gonna convene committee, you can shoot it to me and I'll make sure it goes to my members that are on the calendar committee.
Amanda, will you make sure that,
Will do.
We really appreciate you coming tonight.
yeah, thank
Absolutely.
you.
Helping us to
Absolutely.
understand.
Thank you for being here.
Jeff just said he's on the committee.
He is
Jeff-
on.
Yeah, Jeff's on the committee.
Kind of thought that was.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I haven't had to sit in that meetings.
Yeah.
Okay,
Very good.
Sounds good. Thank you
All right.
so much.
yeah, thank you guys for coming.
Yeah.
Doing some of your
Appreciate your
evening to
time.
help us out here, I appreciate that.
All right.
Well, thank you.
Okay,
Right. Good night. Okay, we will adjourn the work study at 6:27. Call this meeting to order. We'll stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and thank you all for being here. Hi, Jeff.
Hello, Paulette, and everybody else. I'm here for the moment.
Here for the moment. Okay, good. We'll take you. So, all right. We'll consider any changes or additions to the agenda. The motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second?
Moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we're on to presentations and reports. January enrollment. Krista.
Okay, we have some new information to share with you, but I wanted to introduce Pam Singleton to you guys because she's still somewhat new here, so she replaced me as our district accountant. And I thought maybe we could start by having her just share our enrollment with you this month.
Sure.
Okay.
Pam?
All right. Thank you very much. So as you'll see on our monthly report, our average for January was 1,828.67 students, down just slightly. But if you look on the enrollment history and annual trends, you will see that normally we do have a slight decline about this time of the year, and that we usually have an uptick on that. Oh, sure.
How do we have it?
We have
so many.
It's kind of interesting data.
Yeah.
Any questions? Sorry. Okay, the next thing under our financial report, so this is kind of the first time that I played around with Forecast 5, and I have to say I scared myself a little bit here. Because when you look at the projections, it's showing our fund balance projected to end less than the previous 2 years. So I contacted Forecast 5, and we kind of got to digging and looking at some stuff and discovered a couple things. One is our capacity account, which is that account that we have built in case we get grants and those sorts of things. When you add that in, it takes that ending balance from 4.3, the projected ending balance from 4.3 up to 4.419. And then we've also got we have some grants that are still yet to come in that we've incurred some expenditures and we haven't received the funding yet. So what I didn't realize is in the past we have been adding those in, so it doesn't skew our figures. So if you do add those back in, that brings that balance back up to 4.719. So that's more where we want to see things, more at a break-even point. We are seeing some slight increases in salaries, just all across the board. It's just nothing that I can pinpoint exactly, but it's just a little bit here and there, like a 5,000 here, 10,000 here. Our extracurricular stipends are way above what they have been in the last 2 years because we haven't had sports in the last 2 years hardly. So that accounts for a little bit of that drop. And food services, that's increased by about 50,000. That's due to the increased food prices that we're seeing. And so that's where our differences are coming from. So I think all in all, we're looking like we're on track and we're still looking at a nice healthy balance. So to cover our payroll.
That's important.
So, did you guys have any questions at all?
If not, thank you, Krista. You're welcome.
Real quick, I'd just like to tell Krista, I really love the format you came up with, the enrollment report. That is exactly what I wanted to see, even though I had no idea what it would look like. So,
I agree, Jeff.
Well, it helps to have the history too, so.
It does.
It's really fascinating to look at and put together actually, so. Yeah, so thanks for that opportunity, that was great.
Thank you, Christopher, taking it on and
Yeah.
making it happen. Appreciate it. Okay, the Acknowledged Directors and Board Appreciation Month.
Well, as you can see, we have several things around here for you, as we're very appreciative for all the work that you do. And I think I'll go ahead and read the proclamation. Amanda,
Oh, yes,
should I read the proclamation?
absolutely.
Okay. So it's from obviously the state of Washington. Whereas the mission of Washington's public school system is to ensure that all students achieve at high levels and possess the knowledge and skills to be responsible members of a democratic society who enjoy productive and satisfying lives, and whereas Washington's 295 locally elected school boards and 9 elected educational service district boards are the core of the public education governance system in our state, and whereas the districts and regions they lead serve more than 1 million students, have a combined annual budget of over $15 billion, and employ approximately 120,000 people, and whereas school directors play a crucial role in promoting student learning and achievement by creating a vision, establishing policies and budgets, and setting clear standards of accountability for all involved. And whereas school directors are directly accountable to the residents of their districts and regions, serving as a vital link between members of the community and their schools. And whereas school directors and educational service districts provide a passionate voice of advocacy for public schools and the welfare of school children. And whereas it is appropriate to recognize school directors as outstanding volunteers and champions for public education. Now, therefore, I, Jay Inslee, Governor of the State of Washington, do hereby proclaim January 25th, 2022 as School Board Recognition Month in Washington, and I encourage all people in our state to join me in the special observance signed the 15th day of December. So I have some appreciation certificates that I want to hand out to you. So for building our future of our public education, Director Litzenberger.
Thank you.
Director Filiardi. And Director Sova. Okay, so we have some appreciation through our magic of YouTube, and so with that we have. Help me, I don't have all my cues here, everybody. This is
Columbia Crest.
This is Columbia Crest. Thank you, Columbia Crest.
No sound. Oh, she just wasn't speaking. No sound.
Oh, Tyler.
There's no
Tyler, can
sound.
we get a sound?
Oh. Oh, shoot.
I certainly will ensure that the link gets sent to all board members so that you can listen to that wonderful performance.
Yeah, we were,
Appreciate that.
unfortunately,
Absolutely.
we were able to get it on our laptops and our office computers, but
My
messed up in
apologies
the
for the technology.
I apologize. I might have accidentally broken it when I added it to the slideshow. So I will send everybody the link and make sure I'll post it in the YouTube as well. So
okay.
viewers can see it if that's all right.
No, that's fine, Tyler. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
last minute.
I'm gonna give them a round of
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We're not ready.
I've been listening to Carl practice for weeks. It sounds very good. I love it.
We'll get it. It's actually a tease. We want everybody to go online and
Yeah,
look at
I'm
it.
dying. I
Yeah,
haven't
there you
heard a
go.
band concert in a long time.
That's my save.
Perfect. All right, we'll move on to hearings of individuals and groups. I will go first.
Okay, perfect.
Members of the Eatonville School Board, I'm back. 682 days after 14 days to flatten the curve. I wanted to give you a couple of months to hopefully work with district administrators and other districts to make things right for our children. Obviously, this is a pipe dream as no action has been taken. This past November, we the people spoke and spoke loudly. The people of Eatonville School District came together and elected Ashley Soba to represent us on the board. While Ashley is a wonderful woman, mother, citizen, and proud American, we weren't just electing her. It was a referendum on the state of our district and the state of our state. It was a loud shout that we, the majority, expect change. We expect to have a voice. It wasn't just a vote for Mrs. Soba. It was a vote against forced masking, a vote against forced vaccination, a vote against CRT or its pillars in our schools, and a vote against comprehensive sex education. It was a vote for the people to take back our district. The people spoke, and now we demand action. We proved we are the majority. Today, I took some time to take a poll of our community and asked them to give me some issues they are seeing, frustrated about. Here's just a few of the summary. Number 1, end the mask mandate, stop compliance. Number 2, end teacher and staff harassment of our children. Number 8, get things about children's mental and physical health. Sibling COVID protocol, which makes zero medical or scientific sense. Our sibling protocol is absolutely insane and needs to be scrapped. We have kids who have missed 30 plus days this school year and never been tested positive. Somebody please explain this insanity to me. Explain how this helps the kid. Teacher and staff harassment, most notably at EMS and EHS, is in itself an epidemic. Administrators alike have taken it on themselves to be more Gestapo than educator. They are more worried about teaching math than math. This message is for the teacher and administrators. You teach the subject, that's it, end of story.
Yeah.
This week, I'll receive an email from our district counselors. The topic was students' mental health. I kind of chuckled reading it, and considering much of the mental health issues we are seeing is directly related to 2 years of gaslighting, scare tactics, bullying, and harassment by those protecting them. You want to slow down and put a stop to it? End the mandates on the kids and let the kids be kids. In closing, and the real reason I am here tonight, for 9 months, myself and many others have come before the board and given fact after fact as to why this all needs to end. We have delivered you science, we have delivered you numbers. This November, we took our complaints to the ballot box where we won, and now we demand change. We are not only demanding change from you, but on another end, demanding it from the state as well. But we cannot wait for the state. We must stand now. My hope is that somebody will be brave enough, care enough about our kids, and have enough courage to stand tonight and make a motion that reads something like this. I make a motion that Eatonville School Board will draft a resolution that we will never, under any circumstance, allow COVID-19 vaccine mandates in our schools. Under any circumstances. Additionally, Eatonville School District is choosing to end all mandatory mask mandates and COVID-related mandates. I am sure it will be said that such a motion cannot be made due to Robert's rules or some other excuse. I will tell you, the days of decorum are over, and we need true leaders to stand up and make the motion. Maybe you get a second, maybe you don't. Maybe the executive director shuts you down. Who cares? Make the motion. We the people, we the majority, we the parents and our kids deserve and have earned a vote on that matter. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pope. Come on in. And here's your one.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Escott. I recently emailed regarding the COVID procedures being implemented when a student comes in contact with a COVID positive individual. Thank you for taking the time to respond and sending a notification to attempt to clarify the illogical policy that is being adhered to. However, with all due respect, clarification was not provided via that email. Most likely it's simply because the policy doesn't make sense. It's befuddling to me that my children who have never shown symptoms of COVID somehow pose more risk to others than a person who tests positive. How is it logical that my children aren't permitted back to school until 10 days after my 10-day contagious period, but a student or teacher who tests positive is allowed back after 5, even though they too are contagious for 10 days? Why is my children's return date based on my test date, but everything I have seen regarding a COVID positive individual, their return date is based on the date of onset symptoms? Help me to understand the logic being used to allow one of my children back to school for a day, only to deny him access back due to what's being called a clerical error. Based on the current policy, wouldn't all the students and staff he came in contact with be at risk of exposure? I'm not trying to be uncooperative, but I am my children's advocate. I have 2 children in the Eatonville School District. One is now struggling because of the time he has missed, and one is on an IEP and receives speech and occupational therapies through the school. By the time he is permitted back, he will have missed a month of those therapies that are vital for his development. You all were voted into office by the citizens of this community because we have entrusted you to make logical decisions that prioritize our children's education. Instead, it seems you have chosen to embrace nonsensical policies that embolden the fear-mongering tactics that have been pushed since the beginning of this pandemic. If we look at this logically, it is clear we are dealing with a virus that has over a 99% survival rate. So how is this strict quarantine and isolation approach that doesn't work justified? Even when grouped with leaky vaccine propaganda and ineffective mask mandates, COVID is still mutating and spreading. So at what point do we say enough? When do we start placing the education of our children and their attendance at school as priority again? When do we stop blindly supporting these asinine procedures and say our children deserve better? I'm exhausted with these anecdotal guidelines that risk causing more harm in the long term than provide benefit now. I know I'm not alone in this thought. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for being a strong advocate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, cool. All right, I'm Rick Krotzer, concerned citizen, parent, kind of community messenger. I'm not, here for the same song and dance that we've been hearing, asking you guys to remove mask mandates and all this stuff. You guys have heard it 1,000 times. You don't need to hear it over and over. So I won't waste your time or my breath on that anymore. I'm here to ask for your support to find why the system is broken and what we need to do to fix it. The way the state and the federal school board associations dug their fingers in, it's not an accident, and it was done deliberately, and it's designed to strip communities like ours of community school board, control. It's out of control. It's out of our control, and it needs to be fixed. I have a lot more to say. I can't say it all right now because thought time is limited. Didn't make enough notes. It sounds like you guys are letting us just go. But, we'll talk more about it the next week or two. I do have more to say, and I'll reach out. And I hope I have everybody's in here support to fix this and identify the problems and figure out whether there's something we can do about it or not, what the problems are, and come up with ideas to try to fix it. It's not right, regardless of what people's politics are. We have a community consensus, and it's not being followed here. And I think everyone in this room knows that, no matter what side you're on. Everybody knows what Eatonville wants, and we need to be able to have that. That's why we live here. It's a joke. So, anyway. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Rick. Appreciate you coming. Is that everybody?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Is it too late to, I didn't sign up, but is it too late to speak? How does that work?
That's your guys' call. Oh, go ahead. Okay.
He doesn't need
I'll put it on your.
to
He needs to put his name on the list.
Sure.
Go ahead and do that.
Okay.
I got you.
All right, sorry, I wasn't planning on speaking, but my name is Peter Carl. I'm one of the writers at the clinic, and I just recently sent you guys an email, so if you know who I am. But I have 4 kids in the school, or 3 kids in school right now, and then we have a 2-year-old that's at home. But wasn't planning on speaking, but I had to give a little different perspective after hearing some of those comments. And first of all, I think all of our families have struggled, and we're all trying to get through these last few years. And so some of those things I completely agree with. This has been part of my family too, even though we have a different perspective than some of our speakers. So I want to thank all you guys who I think probably don't get thanked enough for the work you're doing to try to keep our schools open and keep our kids safe. I want to thank our school nurses, our teachers, everybody that is doing extra work right now. I want to thank all the families that, we're asking them to do things to keep their families safe, people around them safe. And sometimes these aren't things that people necessarily see the value in, but so many of our patients are doing this, and it's helping to keep our community safe and help us get through this. I just want to give a quick update because we are going to get there to a point where public health will say that it's time to remove the mask and back off on some of these health measures, right? Now is not the time. We're admitting more people to the hospital right now than any time in the pandemic. Our hospitals are overwhelmed. We have and down at Good Sam at the ER, there's a tent outside that extends our emergency waiting room. So we have staff shortages. This is just, it's a really difficult time for healthcare people. Surgeries are being postponed. And you guys, I'm sure everybody knows someone that had a back surgery, knee surgery, or something that was postponed. So it's a very difficult time. People aren't getting the care they need to get right now because of the situation with the pandemic. So I'm trying to encourage our patients to hang in there a little bit longer. I know it's been a long couple of years, but we will get there, and hopefully as this Omicron wave improves, we're going to get some relief. I just want to say one last thing, just to kind of counteract. I think what the school district is doing is actually following the science. It was referenced earlier that we're not following science. Right now, we just had an update from who I work for. Not technically a thing supposed to say, but in the last 2 months, we admitted 581 people to the hospitals, all of the hospitals in our region, and 88.5% of those people that were being admitted for their primary diagnosis of COVID, so they were sick enough to be admitted for COVID. 88.5% of those people had no vaccine. So and I'm not saying, I know not everyone is on board with vaccines, but it's just, that's our reality, that these vaccines are protecting people. And so that's a different narrative than you heard before, but that's the most recent information we have. That's our local hospitals, right? That's data from people that I actually personally know in the last week that they're giving us. So we can, I know not everyone's going to have the come to the same conclusion, but just wanted you to be aware that not everybody in the community necessarily feels that what we're doing right now, that has no value. So thank you. And I think that's it.
Thank you, Dr. Collin. We appreciate all that you're doing in this community. And for reporting to us and encouraging us. Okay, let's move on to unfinished business, and we have policy 3411, accommodating students with seizure disorders or epilepsy. And this was what the was considered an essential policy, and we did have a nurse review it. And so, entertain a motion to approve this policy.
So moved.
Moved and seconded to approve policy 3411. Any discussion?
I guess just real quick, Kristen, we've already been accommodating any students that have seizures, correct?
Correct. Anyone that has a health condition has a health plan in the schools right now.
Okay, so this is just specifically calling out those students in a more, I guess,
Yes.
specific way. It's a brand new policy. The whole thing is brand new. So,
Yes.
okay, great. Anytime we can help protect children. That's important.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to new business, the policy 2161, special education and related services for eligible students. Entertain this first reading.
Yes.
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 Okay. I move to approve this one. So just have this first reading.
Just so you guys know, these aren't new policies.
Right. So
They're just changing some semantic and grammar.
I'll make a motion to approve. And that's for 2161. And I guess what I just want to point out is that it's just some semantics. Instead of have potential for approving, it says can approve. Eligible students and taking out the word special education. So I feel like, it is just semantics. We're continuing on providing for our students, our special education students. So
I think it needs some clarification.
Right.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Policy 3246 is also not a new policy.
So 3246 is not a new policy. It is one we already have in place. Again, it's just changing 2 lines and adding the new WAC.
Thank you, Kristen, appreciate
Yep.
that. So, entertain a motion to approve. A motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve policy 3246. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then we have, I don't have that here with me, Longshore Union Gift Card Association.
I can talk for that because I got to do that this year.
Oh,
So
okay.
the longshoremen every year have donated gift cards during the holiday season to 2 students from each of our elementary schools. It's a $200 gift card. So Columbia Press received two $200 gift cards. The criteria was just students that are struggling. They have some challenges, some adversity, and they're still showing up and being positive and persevering through all the stuff. So The counselors and the principals meet and they nominate students who feel to benefit from it. And then we give that to them before the holidays. So they, last year they, I think, gave 3, this year they gave 2, and they've been doing this now for, I believe, this is the 4th, possibly 5th year. So very, very wonderful and very appreciated.
Is there a particular person in our area that is affiliated with the union that has, you know, made this really valuable connection for us?
I don't know that. Debbie was the one that had, you know, headed it, and so when she left, she just said, make sure that you follow up on that. So now I have, they were very great. She contacted me, and they drove out that day once we had turned it in and personally delivered it. So, but I don't know the connection. I don't know where it came from.
So thanking them is fantastic. It's really wonderful if we could if there is a community member that's helped make that connection, if we can thank them as well.
I can send text to Debbie.
I think it's really, it's really great when people, that's what I love about our community is the support that we bring, and I think we need to really spotlight and recognize and nurture that kind of sense of community.
Sure. And I have her email too. I could reach out. I don't have.
That would be great. Yeah, just reach out to the union and say, you know, was this a resident? And because we used to do the Heroes program. I don't know if we're still doing that, the Community Heroes, but that might be someone that we could even consider nominating for that.
Thank you for that information. Appreciate that. I'll entertain a motion to approve the longshoremen's union gift card.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried. And be sure they let them know, and I know you will, how much it is appreciated and how much we are honored if we have some students recognize.
Be chosen, yeah.
That's truly a gift. A gift in more than one way. All right, we'll move on to superintendent comments.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to do a little round robin and kind of go around through all the buildings, so some good news items, some things that have been going on. I'll start with Columbia Crest Academy, and we have a slide, I believe, of Mr. Van Steen's class. Tyler?
Tyler, you're on.
He's working as fast as he can.
I really dropped the ball tonight. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh,
No, you're
great.
fine.
Hopefully we
appreciate you.
You are very, so anyway, so this is Mr. Van Steen's first grade class. They begin streaming his lessons live on Google Meets to ensure his students who are absent can be part of the learning happening in person. And so we got a little shot of him and his class, and there they are, remote learners. Public education, 21st century. Next, we have our preschool students, always heartfelt. They've been learning how to hold books. Remember those days? Identify the spine of a book. Does that bring it back? If you've had kids before, maybe yourself. And talk about what they see in the illustrations, which is really a huge part of learning, right? It's just not reading and listening, but it's also viewing. And this is something that we teach our students as well. And that nice little shot of our got mud guy there. And then last week, some of Mrs. Datello's science students, if you haven't heard about this one, were able to ask NASA astronauts questions while they were aboard the International Space Station. The questions were about life and work as astronauts on the orbital laboratory during an in-flight event. The whole school turned in to watch and learn. Now, we're not going to show the entire video. We're just going to give you a little tease so you go home and watch the rest of this. But we have a little clip that we wanted to show you of the actual conversation going on.
So, Paulette, I'm going to ask to be excused. I got to go.
All right.
Bye, Jeff.
Our first responder is gone. We're cutting to just a certain part of it.
No sound.
And
This is one of our national park rangers, and she's kind of introducing the conversation. There's the astronauts. Tyler, it looks like we broke the stream. Okay, anyway, we will post the link. So
The
people,
astronauts of Mission 66 for joining us today and answering questions from middle school students at Columbia Crest ASTEM Academy. Here's our first question.
Hi, I'm Adeline. My question is, how do you use teamwork in space?
Hi, Adeline. So we use teamwork for a number of different things. First off, we use teamwork when we're training. So as a crew, we train to go to space together, and we use teamwork for a lot of the different procedures we practice for, but then we also use teamwork just on a day-to-day basis. So for example, if Kayla's doing an event or I'm doing an event during the day, then I may see how she's doing, if I'm ahead or behind, and vice versa. So throughout the day, we're constantly moving around on tasks, moving through the station and using teamwork both in our day-to-day lives as well as our training time.
Hi, I'm Lauren.
So anyway, that's just a slice of it. It's about 18 minutes long, but the students get a chance to ask. How cool is that?
that was so amazing. I mean, you will have to post the.
I mean, that when I heard about it, I was like, oh, no way. And it's like, really? I mean, it's not staged. It's the real deal. I mean, technology, this is incredible. I just like to put that on your resume. Oh, yeah, I was in conversation with the NASA space flight scientist.
I mean, that's they'll never forget.
Oh, no, it was wonderful. So I appreciate Allison getting that put together and doing these sorts of things. And these opportunities are just incredible. So thanks, Tyler, for fighting through that for us. I appreciate that. Next is Eatonville Middle School, and their art club has been meeting on Wednesdays and Thursdays after school. Mr. Rogers, our art teacher, runs the club. The club has been running for a couple weeks, and we have between 8 and 15 students who attend each session. And you've heard me say this before, it's very important that we support the performing and the fine arts. This is very important that we have this for our students, regardless of what the requirements are that we get handed to us from above. It's very important that we continue these sorts of things. So I do appreciate that as well. Winter 2 athletics registration ends on February 4th and practices begin here shortly. Girls soccer currently has 20 students registered, and boys basketball has 48 students registered. There is a Winter 2 athletic parent guardian meeting on February 1st at 6 p.m. in the Eatonville Middle School Commons. Eatonville Middle School. Eatonville High School, they're excited as they are gearing up for their winter Tolo dance this weekend for the first time in 2 years. Students are looking forward to dressing up and enjoying a fun evening. The high school ASB is hosting Friendship and Kindness Week, February 7th through the 11th. We will have an assembly with a guest speaker to kick off the week, fun lunchtime events, and other activities to promote kindness. History and physical education are finishing up on their annual OSPI developed assessments this week. That's from the high school. And then we have Eatonville Elementary School. They're very excited that they are adding a paraprofessional to their staff who will be helping to implement crucial social emotional learning supports in our school. We will be able to provide a greater range of tiered support to all of our students by having this additional staff member, which makes this a perfectly timed addition to our staff. We are equally excited to welcome the elementary mental health therapist that will be joining our team as a support to both students and the staff. Eatonville L. And then last but not least, we have Weyerhaeuser Elementary, and we have a video of Mrs. Phipps' third grade class. This is in honor of our school board. Hopefully. Tyler? Tyler, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, it dropped off there.
That's a problem because he gets them queued up and they're ready to go, and then they crash, and then he's got to pull them back up again. So. We may have to send you the link for that one too. It's pretty cute. They're singing and dancing at the same time. I can add though from Weyerhaeuser that they're also teaching their jump rope skills and wellness lessons along with the Kids Heart Challenge. And this is in February, so keep an eye out for emails about the fundraiser for the American Heart Association. That's all right, Tyler. Thanks. Yeah, we'll get to you folks. It's worth the watch. So that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. On to board comments.
I do actually have some things to say. I know that there's a lot of parents who are very frustrated right now, and there is a lot of parents who want me to do something right now, but I want to learn all the procedures. I want to, get in here and actually learn everything and learn how to do everything before I go and become a wrecking ball. So I know that there's a lot of people who are expecting a lot of stuff out of me, and yeah.
Yeah, good.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
No.
We know you're here to learn and grow with us.
Yeah.
That's what we're gonna do. That's working.
Yes, so I want to start with some thank yous. Thank you to the district office and to Amanda for all of the fun gifts.
Yes.
Thank you to the kids who made the super adorable gifts that just brightened my world, our world, for the notes of encouragement. Thank you to Gary, to the staff, to the parents. So much crummy stuff. To the kids, to the community. In the 14 years I've been a school board director, this certainly has been the least enjoyable time of my life. And so I am sorry, Ashley, that you've entered into time when there have been expectations put on you. I'm sorry for anyone who sits in any seat at this moment who has expectations put on them. I'm sorry for everybody who's stuck in this really crummy situation when we're all doing the very best that we can. And I think what I'm most sorry for is our community as I watch it being torn apart. And I know we can all do better. All of us. I'm heartbroken at the reports I'm getting from our schools, from our school administrators who say you would not recognize the students in our building. We have vandalism, we have fires, we have things going on that have never happened before in our buildings. And our parents would have never stood for that in the past. What is going on in our community? I'm heartbroken, absolutely heartbroken by it. And I know that we can stand together, all of us, and we can put stuff aside. Who would have thought that this little thing right here would be enough to destroy a whole community? Who would have thought that? We are so much more than a couple pieces of paper or fabric. Whichever side you stand on, I stand with you and I understand your frustration on both sides. What I don't understand, the heartbreak we're causing our children, I just don't understand it. And I lay awake at night and I worry. Maybe some of you do. But I know one thing. I'm ready to stand united, and I hope that there are people in our community that will join me in coming together and sitting around a table and finding a solution. I appreciate Mr. Kratzer saying, let's get together and let's talk about the things that we can do to find solutions to issues. Because we have smart, passionate, loving community members. And we may not all agree on things, and we don't have to. I don't expect us to. But I think we can come to consensus when we focus solely on the children. And we need to do that. We need to do that because the number one thing that's going to help our children succeed is an adequate education. And they're not going to get it as long as the adults are pulling them in separate directions. So we need to focus on that. And you know, as much as I appreciate School Board Appreciation Month, this is the month that we should all be appreciating parents and children and everyone who touches a child's life right now in this world that we live in. It's just absolutely crazy. So I'm sorry for that. It's been weighing on me. It's been weighing on my heart for a long time. But with that, on to my responsibilities as a legislative representative for Eatonville School District.
No, thank you for your honesty. Thank you.
So we have WASDA Day on the Hill coming up, and we will be meeting with JT, Representative Wilcox, and Representative Barkas. Our meeting is February 1st at 2 o'clock, and you must go to the WASDA website to register. If you do not do that, because of the new virtual way that we are testifying, they will not allow you to be a part of the conversation. So just go to WASDA, you look for, and I would be happy to help you. You can join on my laptop. You just need to type your name in. You look for 2nd Legislative District, their names. At this point, Senator McCune is not accepting appointments. And during that meeting, we'll be talking about adequate funding for transportation, addressing reduction in student population that we have and some of the funding issues that will occur around that. And what was it? There was another thing, Gary. What's the third hot topic that we're addressing? Transportation.
Prototypical model.
And then staffing around mental health.
Services.
Yeah, and services. So we'll be focusing on that. And then if there are any issues that are unique to our community, then we could schedule a meeting at a separate time where we can communicate. And I know that our representatives are very willing outside of session to come out to our community and talk to us individually. I think we are better suited to have them out, and Representative Wilcox did come out earlier this year. I'm very grateful to him for that. I wanted to thank the students, the band members at Columbia Crest for their presentation, their time in practicing. I can't wait to come and watch that. I'm super excited, and I hope that the Weyerhaeuser kids and the Columbia Crest kids, if they tuned into the board meeting to see their presentations and their little hearts were broken, please know that we are so grateful for that effort that you put in, and we are going to watch them. We are very, very, very grateful for that. And I think that's it. Thank you.
No, thank you. All right, and I just also would like to just let you know that I appreciate our community in major ways. I was born and raised here. Here a very long time. I have served on the board a very long time, and I've worked with students. I was back in the day when they called them teachers' aides. I was a teacher's aide 4 days a week in the middle school math department when the new math came into being, and was learning along with the students. And I can just remember, and when I see some of those kids now in the parking lot, and I hear across the parking lot, Mrs. Gilliardi, I haven't seen you in years, and I don't recognize them, But my passion is kids, and I think you all know that pretty well. And in serving this community, and I've chosen to do it as a board member. And I just want to do the very best I can to bring unity, like Rhonda said, regardless of our differences, because this whole thing is also split families. It just isn't splitting communities, it's split families. We experience that. And we can make it. We will make it. Because we are stronger than that. We are stronger than our opponents. They just don't know that yet. And we will do it. And I'm firmly convinced because we will pull together. We will pull together. And it takes each and every one of us. And I've seen that devotion and dedication in the school district and in this community. And we're going to do it. Down in the mountain. We want what's best for kids. And we'll get it. Every kid counts. Every. Anyway, I want to thank all of you.
Paulette, I think Matt's on.
Huh?
I think Matt is on.
Is Matt, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Hi.
Hello. All right. So I've got just a couple of comments. I want to echo both what Ashley said and Rhonda and Paulette. I think I agree and understand where everybody's coming from. I too have heard from administrators through a few of our schools, and it is sad to hear some of what's been going on inside of our schools, because that's not what I know Eatonville to be, and what many of us who are from this area know Eatonville to be. And really, these last couple of years have been, painful for everybody, for every party involved, regardless of where they sit on any of these ideas. And I guess I want to say that I think that as Eatonville, we're better than this. I think that we're a community that when things get tough, we all come together and we all find a way to persevere and to find a unique way out of it. And so while I've seen and felt an adversarial relationship being built between this board and some members of the community, I would call, very much like Rhonda has called, for some unity here, for us to come together, for us all to realize that we all want what's best for the children. We want what's best for the students. We want what's best for Eatonville. And rather than push against each other, let's all come together and let's talk about this. Let's figure this out. And I'm saying that, myself, I know we can't have more than 3 board members because it would be a board meeting, but myself, send me an email. My email is listed on the board website. I'd be more than happy to host a town hall to talk about issues that people have and bring another board member with me. We need to find a way to close some of these gaps and some of the anger and animosity that we're hearing from the community. We need to find a way to actually, to talk, to bring it all out in the open and find a way forward, to be Eatonville strong. So,
well, Matt, I think we have all of the board there. Yeah, we have a town hall with everybody there, and we just call it as a board. Board
let's do it.
Yeah, we just have to find the facility, right? We just have to make it in a place where everybody can be present. So it might take some brainstorming, but
let's do it.
Let's make it a priority. Let's make it happen.
Also, it's pretty amazing to talk to the International Space Station. So that was amazing. So
that was, and not one news media picked it up, did they?
Not one.
Of course not.
All the press Eatonville gets, right? And they don't pick up that. It's just so frustrating. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, why aren't kids the focus? Why aren't
they want to find a way to divide us? That's the best way they can frame it.
That's right. There's amazing things going on here. In every single building, there's amazing things going on. We all need to be recognizing those and talking about those more. All of us. Thank you, Matt.
Hey, Matt, thanks.
Thank you all.
All right, if there's no other board comments or anything, we will adjourn this meeting. And thank you all for being here.
Okay, I have the WES that if you want to sign up to go to the legislative meeting, you can.